Tavien St. Clair is committed for 2025 out of Bellefontaine. Stands tall at 6'3.5", Kevin.
Yeah, and when I talked to him yesterday, he said he's up to 216 pounds. That's 36 pounds more than what I think he played at last year. I think he was about 180. He ended up committing to the Buckeyes. He was a fixture at Ohio State's events, especially this week, as he showed up kind of unannounced to the Tuesday camp, and then we knew he was going to be there Wednesday with his high school team to participate on the 7-on-7 event. Held an offer, one of 3 quarterbacks in the class of 2025 with an Ohio State offer, and it seemed like everything was moving in the right direction. I spoke to him midway through the camp, and he said, yeah, I plan on making a decision soon. Little did we know that soon meant a few hours, and by the end of the night, he was committed to the Buckeyes, and it's a huge get. While he is the second member of the class of 2025, I think there's some debate whether or not Jonte Gilbert ends up sticking with the Buckeyes throughout the process, as he's been an Ohio State commit, I think, for at least a year now, and still has a couple more to go. And I think it's really important to have that quarterback as the focal point of your recruiting class. And now he can play recruiter instead of recruitee. And, I know that people will want to sit there and talk about what this means for Ryan Montgomery and Bryce Underwood, and Ohio State picked its guy, and it was Tavien St. Clair, and the reality of it is that, yes, it's a long time to hold on to a class of 2025 kid, but when it's a guy that's within your own state borders and whatever, an hour away or whatever it may be, a lot easier to hold on to than maybe pursuing somebody like Bryce Underwood and not knowing what could happen, and seeing St. Clair and or Ryan Montgomery go elsewhere.
Yeah, this was a really good get, I think, for Ohio State. His national rankings have not caught up to how good this player really is, and his offers kind of bear that out. He's ranked number 333 in the 24/7 Sports Composite, and I don't have his exact quarterback ranking and all that in front of me, but his offers this spring and summer show just how good a player this guy is. He's Alabama, Michigan, Penn State, Florida, everybody, that you would contend with to try and win the national championship has offered him. So that's pretty good sign right there. I watched him throw last year, and I have to say I wasn't all that excited about him. And so now, fast forward a year, number 25 quarterback in the 2025 class, according to the composite. Now, 24/7 Sports has him ranked a little bit higher, as you see there, number 13 quarterback. I wasn't all that excited about him a year ago, but I think he's added another inch or two in height and really solidified his frame. And what we saw last Thursday when he was at the camp was a guy who could throw the ball down the seam. When you have guys who are in a line of 7 or 8 quarterbacks throwing one after another, and you see the trajectory of the ball and the zip on the ball, the velocity on the ball, the accuracy of the ball, and one guy really stands out of that group, then you think, okay, that's the one right there. And in that camp, it was Tavien St. Clair for me. So I think he's come a long way in a short period of time. Ohio State came around this spring and offered him, and it was not a surprise after seeing him work out that they offered him. And I think that he's going to mix right in for them in this quarterback rotunda that they've got going right now. Regarding Ryan Montgomery, obviously they offered him. He's from Findlay, Ohio, plays marginally better competition. He's at a Division I school, playing Division I and Division II schools up in the Toledo area, Northwest Ohio. It's about 40 miles south of Toledo. Bellefontaine is about 40, 50 miles northwest of Columbus on Route 33. And I looked up their schedule. They play a lot of 3s and 4s, to be honest with you. They are a Division III school. And, Coldwater was on their schedule. Licking Heights, a school more my way here in East Central Ohio, is on their schedule. They're a Division II school. I think most of the teams in their league are 3s and 4s. They were a first-round playoff team last year, lost to Granville. His stats were okay, threw for about 2,500 yards thereabouts last year in 11 games. So I look for him going into his junior year to take a quantum leap and really do some big things. And, they got their guy. And look at this quarterback pantheon. We've talked about 3 straight Heisman Trophy finalists with Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, CJ Stroud. You now turn it over to Kyle McCord or Devin Brown this coming season. Devin Brown's a redshirt freshman. Kyle McCord is a junior. You've got Lincoln Keenholtz, will be a true freshman this year, who there's a lot of things expected out of him, kind of a diamond in a rough guy as well from South Dakota. Next year, you get the big timer, Air Noland from Georgia, who was in the top 3, probably at the Elite 11 last week. And then you go to 2025 and you've got Tavien St. Clair. And, will there be anybody else in this class? I don't know. But Ryan Montgomery had an offer for close to a year. And, I don't know what the stomach is for anybody to take 2 quarterbacks in one class, if anybody would sit still for that. The shelf life for quarterbacks at Ohio State on average varies from Quinn Ewers 1 semester to CJ Stroud was there 3 full years. So
JT Barrett for 800 semesters.
Yeah, JT Barrett for 800 semesters. So I don't know. It kind of varies, but that's kind of all sides of this thing, looking at it from the putt from every direction. And now we'll see what happens going forward.
And there's, the question of, does Ohio State take 2 quarterbacks? And I think in some ways there might be a desire in the day, and how things are going to work in terms of quarterback numbers. And, we get to 25, the class that we're talking about, and Kyle McCord will have moved on. And then, does Lincoln Keenholtz or does Devin Brown, are they there? I mean, what are the numbers? You would like to have 4 quarterbacks at all times, but here in this modern age of NIL and quarterback moves, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I feel very confident in saying it will not be a 2-man class of Tavien St. Clair and Ryan Montgomery. It will not be a 2-man class of Tavien St. Clair and Bryce Underwood. I think at this point, the best that you could kind of hope for is maybe finding an under-the-radar guy, a guy who kind of understands that, okay, well, I'm going to come in, I'm going to compete like hell for the job, but I also am playing the long game. I know that if I come in and have a couple of years of development under Ryan Day and Corey Dennis or whoever, may be running development at that point, and then I can go on and lead my own program. So, there's a big question of whether or not, somebody is going to be willing to play the long game, but you're not probably going to get a second blue chip quarterback in terms of today rankings or the rankings at the very end of that cycle to come in. And I wanted to also comment on something that Mark had on the screen, a post by Troy V about clips of St. Clair. We posted 7 minutes of clips from him on the 7-on-7 event. So check that out at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. Again, about 7 minutes of clips. We tried to put the best throws at the top of it. So if you can't make it all the way through it, but you should be very comfortable of seeing his throwing motion and things, even though you're knowing that it's 7-on-7 football, which is really just football adjacent. It's not real football.